King Charles and the royal family hosted a lavish banquet for US President Donald Trump and his wife, Melania, at the Windsor Castle, rounding off his first day of historic second state visit to Britain. Trump described the visit as one of the highest honors of his life. During his royal banquet toast, King Charles praised the special relationship between the UK and the US and hailed what he called Trump's personal commitment to seeking peace. Earlier, Trump and his wife, Melania, welcomed featured gun salute, soldiers on horseback and a flypast by the Red Arrows. Hundreds of demonstrators gathered in London's Parliament Square to express their discontent with US President Donald Trump's state visit to Britain. Demonstrators expressed concerns about Trump's policies and the decision to host him.
Military cover for Israel to do it. So our message to Donald Trump is, don't touch.
Thousands of Israelis gathered in Jerusalem and other cities across the country to demonstrate against the ongoing war in Gaza. Some demonstrators lay on the ground, draped in red-stained cloth symbolizing blood, and also carried signs. They demanded an end to the conflict and the release of captives held in Gaza. Israel's defense ministry has announced that its cutting-edge laser-based system, Iron Beam, has successfully completed testing and is now set to be operational by the end of this year. Developed in collaboration with Elbit Systems and Rafale Advanced Defense Systems, Iron Beam is designed to destroy incoming missiles, mortars and drones at a fraction of the cost of other interceptors. Three law enforcement officers were killed and two others were injured in a tragic shooting incident in Pennsylvania. The officers were responding to a domestic-related investigation when the shooting occurred. The police has confirmed that the shooter has also been killed in the incident. Officials say that there is no ongoing threat to the public and investigation is under. In a fiery Senate hearing over Trump administration's handling of the controversial Jeffrey Epstein files, FBI Chief Kash Patel agreed to personally lead an investigation into a controversial birthday card addressed to the late financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein after facing questions about the authenticity during the testimony. The handmade card allegedly bears the signature of President Trump. The card was part of a leather-bound book given to Epstein on his 50th birthday in 2023. Patel's investigation will focus on verifying the handwriting and assessing how the card surfaced. Hundreds of demonstrators gathered outside the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Burlington to voice their opposition to the growing immigration crackdown. The demonstrations, which initially drew only a handful of demonstrators in may have swelled to 600 people, reflecting increasing anxiety about ICE operations across the state. Activists claim that ICE has detained over 2,700 individuals from January to July, marking an intensification of enforcement actions.
Sir, who are you filming for?
Donald Trump plans to designate Antifa as a terrorist organization and investigate its funders, and that's following the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Trump claims left-wing groups like Antifa are promoting violence, but critics argue he is using Kirk's death to crack down on political opponents.
Stop! Nazi, stop! Nazi, stop! Nazi, stop!
Venezuela's interior minister claimed the country has foiled a false flag operation by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, seizing 3,680 kilos of cocaine and arresting 4 individuals. According to Cabello, the operation involved a speedboat, equipment and other mobile phones. He alleged that one of the suspects had ties to the DEA and that the detained Venezuelans were instructed to carry their national ID cards to frame the country. Cabello asserted that the DEA's intention was to target Venezuela, but the country's security forces were able to intercept the drugs and apprehend the suspects. Venezuela has launched a 3-day military exercise on the island of La Orquella in the Caribbean involving over 2,500 troops, 12 ships, 22 aircraft and 20 small boats from the Special Naval Militia. The drills ordered by President Nicolas Maduro aim to demonstrate sovereignty and enhance operational readiness in response to heightened tensions with the US, which has deployed 8 warships to the region for anti-narcotics operations. Cuba's Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez has urged the United Nations to intervene and stop the United States from escalating military actions in the region, especially against Venezuela. He said that he views the U.S. military buildup in the Caribbean to counter drug cartels as a crude pretext for aggression. Rodriguez blamed U.S. sanctions for Cuba's economic struggles, including shortages, infrastructure collapse, and inflation. While the Trump administration attributes the issues to Cuba's communist system, the UNGA has passed a non-binding resolution condemning the U.S. trade embargo on Cuba for 32 years. Argentina's lower house of Congress has voted to overturn President Javier Milei's vetoes on laws that would increase funding for public universities and pediatric hospitals. The budgets had previously been reduced by President Javier Milei, known for his radical right-wing policies. Now, this major legislative rebuke to Milei's austerity agenda comes after tens of thousands of Argentines demonstrated in downtown Buenos Aires demanding more funding for education and health care. Former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has been diagnosed with early-stage skin cancer after doctors detected cell carcinoma in 2 skin lesions removed from the body. The cancer was identified as in situ, meaning the abnormal cells showed no signs of spreading. Bolsonaro underwent a procedure to remove the lesions on Sunday and was hospitalized again on Tuesday due to vomiting, dizziness and low blood pressure, but was discharged on Wednesday. The diagnosis comes after Bolsonaro was convicted of attempting a coup to illegally retain power after losing the 2022 election to Lula da Silva. NATO forces showcased the military prowess in Poland with the Iron Gate exercise featuring tanks, helicopters and fighter jets. The drills are a part of the larger Iron Defender series aimed to demonstrate Poland's defensive capabilities in the face of potential threats from the east. Iron Gate featured both Polish and Allied troops, including the US Army's WE Corps, which has its forward headquarters in Poland. Plane maker Embraer says its Brazilian plants are operating normally despite a strike by metal workers who are demanding an 11% wage increase and other benefits, including a collective labor agreement. The union rejected the company's proposed 5.05% wage increase tied to inflation. Embraer says production has not been disrupted, but the strike comes at a critical time as the company aims to strengthen production to meet its annual delivery targets. Shares in Embraer fell 1.3% amid the news. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia have strengthened their decades-long security partnership by signing a formal mutual defense pact. The agreement, signed by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, considers an attack on either country as an aggression against both. This pact aims to enhance defense cooperation and joint deterrence against potential threats, reflecting the shared commitment of both the nations to regional security and stability. The Republican chair of the House Select Committee on China, John Molina, has raised concerns over a reported US-China framework deal to shift TikTok's American assets to US-controlled ownership, which he warned would still allow Beijing to influence the app's users. Well, according to John Molina, US-China TikTok licensing deal may still rely on ByteDance's algorithm and application, potentially allowing continued Chinese Communist Party control or influence. Recently, Reuters had reported that the US President Donald Trump's agreement with China would keep TikTok operating in the United States by transferring its US assets to US owners from China's ByteDance. Italy's privacy watchdog Grant has temporarily suspended the use of facial recognition technology at Milan's Linate Airport pending the conclusion of a long-running data protection investigation. Well, facial recognition screenings at the airports have raised global concerns about the potential misuse of passenger data. According to the privacy watchdog, the suspension is due to the insufficient safeguards at Linate to stop the use of facial recognition on passengers who had not signed up to it. Alphabet's Waymo plans to start offering autonomous cab rides in Nashville next year in collaboration with ride-hailing firm Lyft. Riders in the Music City will initially be able to hail self-driving cabs through the Waymo app. As the service grows, riders will also be able to use the Lyft app to match with a Waymo vehicle as part of the agreement. Lyft will also invest an undisclosed sum in an autonomous vehicle, where it will charge and maintain Waymo vehicles. Oil prices held nearly flat Thursday after the US Federal Reserve cuts its policy rate by a quarter point, signaling more easing ahead to support a weakening jobs market. Brent crude was down at $67.54 a barrel, while US slipped to $63.61. Rate cuts typically lift oil demand, though experts say rising OPEC plus supply could limit gains. US crude stockpiles fell sharply last week on record low net imports, while exports surged. but distillate inventories jumped 4 million barrels, sparking demand concerns. JP Morgan says global oil demand is up 0.8 million barrels per day so far this year. Gold held steady on Thursday after falling from a new record as investors reacted to the Federal Reserve's interest rate cut and mixed policy signals. Spot gold hit a fresh high of $3,707 an ounce on Wednesday but closed down 0.8%. Fed Chair Jerome Powell struck a less dovish tone. Gold traded around $3,600 on Thursday morning in Asia, while the Bloomberg Dollar Index ticked higher. Global markets stabilized after the U.S. Federal Reserve cut rates by 25 basis points but struck a cautious tone on future moves. U.S. equity futures rose 0.3% with Asia's Korea and Taiwan indexes leading gains, both up around 0.7%. Japan's Nikkei added 0.3% while Australia and New Zealand slipped. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said the cut was a risk management move, cooling hopes for more aggressive easing. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq closed lower while the dollar bounced back from a post-Fed dip. Australia's Santos slumped 13% after ADNOC scrapped an $18.7 billion takeover bid. U.S. single-family home construction fell sharply in August, dropping 7% to an annualized rate of 890,000, the lowest level since April 2023, as builders struggle with a glut of unsold homes. Permits for future construction also hit a two-year low, signaling more weakness ahead. Most of the decline was in the south, where overbuilding has collided with slowing job growth. The multifamily segment also slipped, dragging overall housing starts down 8.5%. Residential construction is expected to remain on track this month.